Imagine walking out to your backyard. Right now, maybe you just see empty grass, a messy corner, or a pile of old items you don't know how to use. Now, close your eyes and imagine that same space transformed. Picture a rustic archway made of driftwood welcoming you in. Imagine a river of sparkling glass bottles guiding your path, and broken pots turned into magical fairy castles hidden among the leaves. You don't need a big budget or years of experience to start. You just need a new perspective. Today, we aren't just planting seeds. We are building a world. Let's imagine your first garden. Welcome back to Home and Garden Borneo. Here, we believe that nature and creativity are the best architects. We specialize in turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, taking upcycled materials like driftwood, stone, and everyday objects to create rustic, fairytale sanctuaries. If you love the idea of turning trash into a garden paradise, make sure to subscribe. We are turning this into a weekly series where we tackle every corner of your garden with a new, creative eye. Quick question. I'm curious. Where in the world are you dreaming of building your garden today? Let me know in the comments below. I love seeing our community grow from every corner of the globe. One, the Broken Pot Fairy Castle. Close your eyes and picture a simple terracotta pot. Perhaps it slipped from your hands, shattering into jagged pieces on the hard ground. Most would see this as an ending, a mess to be swept away. But in the garden, a break is merely an opening for a new story. Visualize these shards not as debris, but as the walls of an ancient, miniature fortress. By stacking them, layer upon layer, filled with rich, dark earth, we create a spiraling tower that rises from the ruin. Tucked into the crevices, we place tiny succulents and soft, velvet moss, transforming the sharp edges into a lush, living mountain. This is the art of the Broken Pot Castle. It reminds us that imperfection is often the cradle of true beauty. It invites us to look closer, to crouch down and lose ourselves in a tiny world where imagination reigns supreme. Here, nature heals the cracks, binding the pieces together with roots and life. As we leave this miniature sanctuary, let us expand our vision from the ground up, looking towards the structures that welcome us home. Two, the Driftwood Entry Archway. Imagine standing before a portal. Not a gate of iron or a fence of rigid plastic, but a structure born from the journey of water and time. Picture two strong pieces of driftwood, bleached by the sun and smoothed by the river's current, rising from the earth to meet above your head. The driftwood archway is more than just an entrance. It is a transition. It marks the moment you leave the noise of the outside world and step into your sanctuary. The wood carries the memory of the ocean, its twisted forms telling stories of storms weathered and tides survived. When we bind these branches together, perhaps adorned with a climbing jasmine or a simple lantern, we create a frame for the living art within. It stands silent and strong, a testament to the beauty of reclaimed nature. Passing through it feels like a ritual, a gentle reminder to breathe and to slow down. And as we step through this wooden embrace, our eyes are drawn downward, where the earth spirals into a shape both practical and profound. Three, the spiral stone herb bed. Look closely at the patterns of the wild, the shell of a snail, the curling tendril of a vine, the heart of a sunflower. Nature moves in spirals. When we bring this sacred geometry into our garden, we are doing more than just planting. We are mimicking the ancient flow of life. Imagine gathering smooth river stones, heavy and cool in your hands, and laying them one by one. You are building a mountain in miniature. As the stone wall coils upward, it creates a unique home for every plant. The sun-loving rosemary sits high on the crest, drinking in the warmth, while the delicate mint rests in the cool, moist shade below. The herb spiral is a testament to balance and efficiency, turning a flat, lifeless patch of dirt into a thriving, three-dimensional ecosystem. It smells of earth and rain, of crushed basil and lemon thyme. It is a living sculpture that feeds both the body and the soul. From the solid, grounding nature of stone, let our imagination flow like water towards something that captures the light in a kaleidoscope of color. Four, the glass bottle river border. Glass is born from sand and fire, a material that holds light like a secret. Often, we discard these vessels, bottles of emerald green, deep amber, and cobalt blue, forgetting the beauty they still possess. But imagine giving them a second life, not in a landfill, but as the jewels of your garden. By turning them upside down and returning them to the soil, we create a river of solidified light. Arranged side by side, shoulder to shoulder, they form a border that defines the chaos of nature with a gentle, curving line. When the morning sun strikes them, they don't just separate the grass from the flowers, they glow. They become a stained glass window for the earth itself. This border tells a story of preservation. It whispers that everything has value if looked at from a different angle. It transforms the mundane into the magical, creating a path that invites us to wander deeper. And as we follow this glistening trail, we find ourselves craving the serenity of real water, hidden in the most unexpected of places. Five, the no-dig tire pond. There is something inherently magical about water. It brings the sky down to the earth, capturing the passing clouds and the dancing light. Yet, often we think a pond requires heavy machinery and endless digging. But what if the foundation for this magic was already sitting in your garage? Picture an old, weary tire, a relic of asphalt and miles traveled. It seems lifeless, harsh, industrial. But with a little imagination, we can transform this rubber circle into a cradle for life. By wrapping it in the warmth of the earth and lining it to hold the rain, we create a hidden oasis. Concealed by a ring of smooth stones and cascading creeping jenny, the tire disappears, leaving only a perfect, reflective pool. Suddenly, the garden is no longer just silent plants. It has a heartbeat, the sound of a gentle ripple, the visit of a thirsty dragonfly, the shimmer of a lily pad floating on the surface. This humble vessel becomes a mirror for the soul of the garden, proving that even the roughest materials can hold the purest beauty. And as we sit by this quiet water, let us look to the boundaries that protect our haven, woven by hand and history. Six, wattle fencing, weaving branches. Long before we had metal mesh or plastic panels, our ancestors knew the secret of the weave. They understood that a garden boundary shouldn't be a wall that shuts nature out, but a basket that holds nature in. Imagine standing in a forest, gathering the fallen limbs and flexible whips of willow or hazel. There is a primal rhythm to building a wattle fence, over, under, over, under. It is a meditation in wood. As you weave the branches between the upright stakes, you are not just building a barrier, you are creating a tapestry from the forest floor. This fence breathes. It allows the wind to whisper through its gaps and the sun to dapple the soil behind it. It is strong, yet yielding, organic and raw. It looks as though it grew from the ground itself, a perfect marriage of human hands and wild materials. It reminds us that protection can be beautiful, and that structure can be soft. And speaking of wood returning to the earth, let us look at the remnants of great trees, and how they can cradle new life even after they have fallen. Seven, stump planters. Consider the stump. To many, it is merely an obstacle, a stubborn reminder of a tree that has fallen, a scar on the landscape. But in the eyes of a gardener, it is a chalice waiting to be filled. Imagine hollowing out the heart of this weathered wood and filling it with rich, dark soil. It becomes a natural vessel, a bridge between the past and the future. As you plant cascading petunias or vibrant nasturtiums within its ring, a beautiful transformation occurs. The old wood, softening with age, begins to embrace the new roots, offering its own nutrients back to the cycle of life. There is a deep poetry in the stump planter. It teaches us that nothing in nature is truly wasted. What once reached for the sky now cradles the earth, becoming a rustic throne for blooms that spill over its edges like living jewels. It creates a focal point that feels ancient, grounded, and profoundly peaceful. From this celebration of wood and earth, let us turn our gaze to the vertical, finding potential in the most industrial of objects. Eight, vertical pallet wall. In a world where space is often limited, we must learn to look up. The humble shipping pallet, often seen discarded on roadsides, rough and utilitarian, holds the secret to a vertical revolution. It is not just scrap wood. It is a canvas waiting to be hung. Imagine standing this wooden frame against a bare, gray wall. Suddenly, the horizontal rules of gardening no longer apply. The slats become pockets of potential, cradling pots of basil, thyme, and trailing strawberries. It transforms a cold barrier into a living tapestry of green. There is a distinct joy in this kind of gardening. It brings the earth to eye level. You can smell the herbs without bending down. Trace the leaves with your fingertips as you walk by. It turns a tiny balcony or a cramped corner into a lush, breathing lung. The pallet garden is a triumph of ingenuity, proving that you don't need acres of land to surround yourself with life. You only need to change your perspective. And just as we piece together wood to create structure, let us look at how we can piece together fragments of stone and color to guide our feet. Nine, mosaic stepping stones. A garden is a journey, not a destination. And every journey needs a path. But instead of pouring bland, gray concrete, imagine walking on fragments of color and memory. Think of the chipped plates, the broken tiles, the glass marbles from a childhood game. These pieces are not trash. They are the paint for your masterpiece. When we press them into wet cement, we are freezing a moment in time. We are creating a mosaic that turns the act of walking into a visual dance. Each stone becomes an island in a sea of grass. As you step from one to the next, you are guided by patterns of blue, white, and amber. It feels playful, almost like a game of hopscotch frozen in elegance. These stones remind us that life is made up of broken pieces coming together to form a beautiful whole. And speaking of giving new life to old kitchenware, let's look up towards the branches, where even a simple cooking tool can find a blooming purpose. Ten, hanging colander baskets. Go into your kitchen. Open the cupboard. There sits the colander, battered by years of use, waiting in the dark. It was designed for a singular, humble purpose, to let water pass through. But in the garden, this very design makes it the perfect vessel for life. Imagine suspending it from a low branch or a porch hook, lined with soft, green moss. The holes that once drained pasta water now allow the roots of your petunias and lobelia to breathe, to drink without drowning. It becomes a floating chandelier of blooms. There is a delightful irony here. The cold metal or enamel, industrial and rigid, is now overflowing with the softest, most chaotic explosion of color. It swings gently in the breeze, a pendulum of nature measuring time not in seconds, but in seasons. It proves that beauty often hides in the most utilitarian of places. From this floating garden that feeds the eyes, let us turn to something that feeds the smallest and most joyful visitors of our sanctuary. Teacup bird feeder. Tea time is a ritual of civilization. Delicate porcelain, quiet conversation, a pause in the day. But why should this elegance remain indoors? Imagine bringing the china cupboard out into the wild air. By securing a saucer to a cup and tilting it just so, we create an invitation. It is not for guests who knock, but for those who fly. When filled with seeds, this dainty vessel becomes a bustling cafe for chickadees and finches. There is a beautiful contrast here. The fragility of the floral porcelain against the wild, frantic energy of fluttering wings. It turns a quiet corner of the garden into a scene from a storybook. It reminds us that hospitality extends beyond our own species. Watching them perch on the rim, head cocked and bright-eyed, brings a simple, childlike joy that no expensive statue could ever provide. But sometimes, we want the look of something heavy, ancient, and solid, without the back-breaking weight or cost. Cinder block stone paint hack. Concrete blocks. They are the backbone of construction, but rarely the face of beauty. They sit gray, cold, and industrial, screaming unfinished. But what if you could change their skin without changing their strength? Imagine becoming an alchemist with nothing but a sponge and a few pots of paint. By layering shades of warm slate, earthy brown, and hints of mossy green, we can trick the eye. We dab and stipple, blurring the sharp, manufactured lines until they dissolve into the illusion of ancient, quarried stone. Suddenly, a $2 block looks like a piece of history. Stacked together, they form a raised bed that feels permanent and grounded, yet costs next to nothing. It is a secret between you and the garden, a reminder that value is often just a matter of surface and perception. And as we build these solid foundations on the ground, let us not forget to guide the eyes upward, encouraging our plants to climb towards the sky. Ladder trellis. A ladder is a tool of aspiration. It is built to help us reach what is just beyond our grasp. A high shelf, a painted ceiling, the roof. But when its working days are done, when the rungs are worn and the paint is chipped, it finds a new purpose. It stops helping us climb and starts helping nature rise. Imagine leaning this old frame against a fence or sinking its legs into the soil. It becomes a skeleton for the living. The clematis, the sweet pea, the morning glory, they instinctively know what to do. They wrap their tendrils around the rungs, pulling themselves up towards the sun, transforming the wood into a column of blooms. There is something deeply satisfying about seeing a man-made object consumed by green. It softens the hard lines of the garden, adding height and drama without the need for expensive carpentry. It stands as a monument to growth, a silent partner in the plant's journey skyward. And while we celebrate the vertical, let us look down once more to the small details underfoot that create texture and pattern. Pebble Mosaic Mat. The threshold of a home is a sacred space. It is the pause between the wild outdoors and the sheltered within. Usually, we throw down a rubber mat, something functional and forgettable. But imagine if that first step was a greeting from the earth itself. Picture gathering hundreds of smooth river stones, each one tumbled by centuries of water into a perfect, soothing shape. By arranging them in spirals or waves, we create a mosaic mat that massages the soles of our feet and delights the eye. It is solid, cool, and unyielding, yet it flows with a visual rhythm that mimics the stream from which it came. This pebble mat is more than a place to wipe your boots. It is a grounding ritual. It reminds us that even the hardest elements of nature can be assembled into something soft to the gaze. It brings the texture of the riverbed right to your doorstep, ensuring that nature is the last thing you touch as you leave, and the first thing you meet when you return. And speaking of homes built from nature's scraps, let us turn our attention to the smallest residents of our garden and the towering sanctuary we can build for them. The Bug Hotel Tower. A garden is never truly empty. Even in the silence, there is a bustling civilization at work. The bees, the beetles, the ladybugs, they are the invisible architects of our harvest. So, why not build them a city of their own? Imagine constructing a high-rise tower from the scraps of the forest. We stack old bricks, pallets, and tiles, creating a framework. Then, we fill the rooms with textures. Hollow bamboo for the solitary bees, pine cones for the beetles, dry straw for the lacewings. It becomes a mosaic of habitats, a grand hotel for the smallest of guests. This structure is a promise. It is a declaration that we are not the masters of this land, but its stewards. By inviting these tiny allies in, we complete the circle of life. We ensure that our flowers will be pollinated and our pests kept at bay, not by chemicals, but by nature's own balance. As you look at this thriving tower and back at the garden we have imagined together today, remember this. You don't need acres of land or a fortune in gold to start. You only need the willingness to see the potential in the broken, the discarded, and the small. Your garden is waiting. Go out and begin. Remember, your first garden doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Every stone you place and every branch you weave adds a chapter to your story. If you enjoyed these 15 ideas and want to see how to build specifically with driftwood, click the video on the screen right now. I'll see you there to continue our journey. Happy gardening!